Every night, while you sleep, your dog is wide awake. Not all the time. Not in the way you'd think. But in those quiet hours when the house goes dark and your breathing slows, something ancient stirs inside them. Something you've never seen. And if you knew what they were really doing in those silent moments, you'd never look at bedtime the same way again. You think your dog sleeps when you sleep. You imagine them curled up, dreaming of squirrels and tennis balls, lost in some peaceful animal rest. And sometimes, that's true. But between those dreams, in the spaces you never witness, your dog is working. They're moving through the house like a ghost. They're checking on you. They're standing guard at doors you forgot to lock. They're performing rituals so old, so wired into their DNA, that they can't stop even if they wanted to. Because to your dog, nighttime isn't rest. It's responsibility. Let's start with something you might have noticed if you ever woke up at 3 in the morning. Your dog isn't where you left them. Maybe you put them in their bed across the room. Maybe they started the night on the couch. But when you open your eyes in the darkness, there they are, right next to you, sometimes touching your hand, sometimes with their head resting near your face. This isn't random. This is the repositioning ritual. Throughout the night, dogs move closer to their sleeping humans in intervals. Behaviorists have tracked this with motion sensors. Every 60 to 90 minutes, a dog will wake from light sleep, assess the room, and reposition themselves closer to their person. They're checking your breathing. They're monitoring your heartbeat through vibration and scent. In wolf packs, the vulnerable members sleep in the center, and the strongest sleepers take turns staying semi-alert on the perimeter. Your dog sees you as vulnerable when you sleep, so they come closer. They place themselves between you and the door, between you and the window, between you and anything that might come through the dark. And that leads to the second thing they do, the door-watching stance. If you have a dog that sleeps in your bedroom, try this experiment. Set up a camera. Watch the footage the next morning. You'll see it. Around midnight, or 2 a.m., or 4 a.m., your dog will stand up, move to the bedroom door, and just stare. Sometimes for 5 minutes. Sometimes for 20. They're not waiting to go out. They're not bored. They're listening. A dog's hearing range extends far beyond ours. They can detect frequencies up to 65,000 hertz. That means they hear the house settling in ways we never could. The creak of a floorboard 3 rooms away. The hum of the refrigerator shifting cycles. The scratch of a branch against the window. And in their mind, every sound is a potential threat. So they stand guard. They position their body between you and the door, ears rotating like satellite dishes, processing every vibration in the house. This behavior is strongest in breeds developed for protection, shepherds and mastiffs and rotties, but even small dogs do it. Even a Chihuahua believes they're the only thing standing between you and danger. Then, there's something quieter, something you'd never notice unless you were watching very carefully. The toy-gathering behavior. Some dogs, particularly anxious or highly bonded dogs, will collect their toys during the night and arrange them near where you sleep. Not to play, not because they're bored, but because those objects carry comfort. They smell like home, like safety, like the games you played together. Canine behaviorists believe this is a denning instinct, an effort to create a resource cache near the pack leader. In the wild, wolves bring food back to the den. Your dog brings their squeaky ball, their frayed rope toy, that stuffed duck with one eye missing. They're building a nest of familiar things around you. It's a security ritual. And if you've ever woken up to find toys scattered around your bed that weren't there when you fell asleep, now you know. Your dog was trying to keep you safe with the only resources they have. Around 3 or 4 in the morning, many dogs perform what researchers call the midnight patrol. They get up, even from deep sleep, and walk through the house. They check the kitchen. They sniff the front door. They pause at windows. They visit other rooms, even empty ones. This isn't restlessness. It's an inherited patrol behavior from their wolf ancestors. In a pack, members take turns doing perimeter checks throughout the night. Your dog is doing the same thing. They're making sure nothing has changed, that no new scents have entered, that all the boundaries of their territory are still secure. Some dogs do this once a night. Some do it 3 or 4 times. And when they're finished, they return to you. They curl back up. They resume their watch, because the patrol is never really over. If you've ever watched your dog sleep and seen their legs twitching, their eyes moving rapidly beneath closed lids, their mouth making small movements like they're barking in silence, you're watching the dream running phenomenon. Dogs experience REM sleep just like humans, and research shows that during REM cycles, dogs process their emotional experiences from the day. But here's what's remarkable. Studies using brain imaging have shown that dogs dream primarily about their humans. They replay walks you took together, games of fetch, moments you called their name, the scent of your hand. Neuroscientists at MIT found that dogs' brain patterns during REM sleep mirror the patterns they show during positive interactions with their owners. Which means when your dog runs in their sleep, they're running toward you. When they whimper softly, they might be reliving a moment you left the house. Every night, in their dreams, you are the main character. You are the story their brain needs to process and preserve. And then, there's something more tender, the scent-checking ritual. If your dog sleeps near you, they will wake multiple times during the night and press their nose to your hand, or your face, or your neck. It lasts only seconds. You probably never notice. But they're doing something profound. Dogs process emotion and identity through scent. Your unique chemical signature, the combination of pheromones and skin oils and breath, tells your dog everything about your emotional state. When they scent check you during the night, they're assessing your cortisol levels, your oxytocin, whether you're stressed, sick, or safe. They're reading you the way we might check someone's pulse. And if something seems off, if your scent carries markers of illness or distress, your dog's behavior will change. They'll stay closer. They'll watch you more carefully. They'll become more protective. Because that scent check isn't just gathering information. It's an act of love. But not all nighttime behaviors are peaceful. Some dogs experience what trainers call anxiety pacing. Even when you're in the same house, even when you're just in the next room, some dogs cannot settle. They pace the hallway. They move from room to room. They lie down, then stand up 2 minutes later. This is separation distress, even in proximity. These dogs have bonded so deeply that your unconsciousness feels like abandonment. You're physically present, but mentally gone, and they can't follow you into sleep. So they wait. They move. They try to self-soothe by patrolling or repositioning. Veterinary behaviorists note that this is most common in dogs with hyperattachment or previous abandonment trauma. Their cortisol levels spike at night. Their heart rate stays elevated. For these dogs, your sleep is the hardest part of their day, because it's the only time they can't reach you. So tonight, when you close your eyes and drift away, remember this. Your dog is still there, still watching, still listening to the house settle and the night sounds and the rhythm of your breathing. They're checking doors and gathering toys and moving closer to your side. They're dreaming of you. They're standing between you and a world you don't even know they're protecting you from. Because in the end, your dog's night is not about rest. It's about duty. It's about love made into action. It's about a promise they made the day you became their person. A promise that doesn't pause just because the lights go out. Which of these nighttime behaviors have you noticed in your dog? Because once you start watching, you'll see them everywhere. And if you want to understand more about the secret emotional world your dog lives in while you sleep, stay close. Because your dog's love doesn't rest, and neither should your wonder. There's a moment every morning that you've never truly noticed. It happens in the 30 minutes before your alarm goes off, before your eyes open, before you stretch and reach for your phone and start thinking about coffee. In that thin space between sleep and waking, when you're still drifting in dreams, your dog already knows. They know you're coming back. And they're preparing for your return like it's the most important event of their entire day. Because to them, it is. Your dog can sense when you're about to wake up. Not because they're psychic. Not because they're guessing. But because your body betrays you in 100 tiny ways that only a creature built to read you could detect. About 45 minutes before you naturally wake, your breathing changes. It becomes less deep, less rhythmic. You start to shift positions more frequently. Your heart rate begins to climb from its resting state. Your body temperature rises slightly as your metabolism prepares for consciousness. And your dog, lying somewhere nearby or across the room, or even in another part of the house, registers every single change. They hear the shift in your breath through walls. They sense the change in the air, the way your scent subtly transforms as stress hormones begin their morning release. Researchers studying circadian rhythm synchronization between dogs and their owners have found something extraordinary. Dogs who live with humans for more than 6 months begin to match their sleep-wake cycles with precision. Your dog's brain starts producing the neurochemicals associated with waking at almost the exact same time yours does. You're not just sleeping in the same house. You're sleeping in biological harmony. And once your dog senses that you're approaching consciousness, the preparation begins. This is the pre-wake repositioning. If they were sleeping across the room, they move closer. If they were in another room entirely, they come to your door. If they sleep in bed with you, they shift from wherever they were to a specific spot, usually near your face, usually where they'll be the first thing you see when your eyes open. This isn't coincidence. Animal behaviorists who've studied morning routines in dogs have documented this with remarkable consistency. Dogs reposition themselves in the final 15 minutes before their owner wakes, and they choose positions that maximize eye contact and physical proximity. They want to be your first awareness, your first sensory input. Because, in the language of pack bonding, being present at the moment of vulnerability, the moment of transition from sleep to waking, is a profound act of trust and connection. They're saying, I waited for you. I'm here. You didn't wake up alone. But something else happens in these moments. Something you can see if you watch carefully. Your dog undergoes an emotional recalibration. Throughout the night, they've been in guardian mode, vigilant, protective, attuned to threats and sounds and the responsibility of keeping watch. But as you approach waking, their entire demeanor changes. Their body language softens. Their eyes, when they look at you, shift from alert scanning to something gentler, warmer. They're transitioning from protector to companion, from sentinel to friend. Veterinary neuroscientists believe this involves a neurochemical shift. The cortisol that kept them semi-alert during the night begins to drop. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, starts to rise in anticipation of interaction. Their brain is literally preparing for love, for connection, for the joy of your attention. And this recalibration happens every single morning, like a program running in the background of their consciousness that says, they're waking up now, be ready to love them. Then there's the breakfast anticipation behavior. You probably think your dog is excited about food, and yes, they're hungry. Yes, they want their kibble, or their wet food, or whatever routine you've established. But research into canine food motivation versus social motivation reveals something unexpected. When given the choice between food and social interaction with their owner, most dogs choose social interaction first. The morning feeding ritual isn't about the food. It's about the ritual itself. It's about the predictable pattern of you waking, you acknowledging them, you moving through the house together, you performing an act of care. The food is secondary. What they're really anticipating is the structure, the confirmation that the world is still stable, that the morning routine, which signals safety and normalcy, is happening exactly as it should. Dogs are creatures of ritual and rhythm. Every time you repeat the morning sequence, you're telling them the world is okay, you're okay, we're okay, and that's what they're truly hungry for. Around the time your breathing shifts from sleep to near waking, some dogs do something peculiar. They perform what trainers call the guilt-checking scan. They move through the house, sniffing areas they visited during the night, checking if anything was disturbed, if they knocked something over, if they had an accident, if they chewed something they shouldn't have in a moment of night anxiety. This behavior is strongest in dogs with previous negative experiences, dogs who've been scolded for nighttime transgressions. But even dogs who've never been punished do this. It's a self-audit, a way of assessing whether the territory is in order before you wake and inspect it yourself. They're trying to anticipate your reaction, to prepare for your mood, because your emotional state when you wake determines the tone of their entire day, and they know this. They've learned that mornings can go two ways, and they're doing everything in their power to ensure it goes the good way. But the most profound behavior happens in those final seconds before you open your eyes. The reunion preparation. Even though you were only sleeping, even though you were in the same house, sometimes in the same room, sometimes in the same bed, Your dog treats your waking like a reunion after separation. Their tail starts moving before you're even conscious. Their breathing quickens. If you could measure their heart rate in these moments, you'd see it spike. Oxytocin floods their system. The same neurochemical response that happens when they see you come home after being gone for hours. Because to your dog, sleep is a kind of leaving. You go somewhere they cannot follow. Your consciousness departs to a realm they have no access to. And every morning, you come back. You return from that unreachable place. And the relief, the joy, the biochemical explosion of happiness they experience is real. It's not performance. It's not learned behavior for treats or attention. It's genuine emotional reunion. Studies using MRI imaging on dogs have shown that the areas of the brain associated with positive anticipation and reward light up in the minutes before their owner wakes. Your dog's brain is literally celebrating your return before it even happens. And here's what makes this even more remarkable. Your dog's ability to predict your wake time is precise. Researchers have tested this by having owners wake at random times, set alarms for unusual hours, or change their sleep schedules dramatically. And dogs adjust. Within 2 to 3 days, they recalibrate. They learn the new pattern. They begin anticipating the new wake time with the same accuracy. This suggests that dogs aren't just responding to one cue, they're integrating multiple data points. The amount of light coming through windows, the ambient sounds of the neighborhood, the specific combination of your breathing, movement, and scent changes. They're running a complex algorithm in their brain that we're only beginning to understand, and they're doing it every single night, every single morning, because knowing when you'll return to consciousness is a survival skill they've honed over thousands of years of domestication. The dogs who could read their humans best, who could anticipate their needs and rhythms most accurately, were the ones who stayed closest, who were fed and kept and loved. Your dog is the descendant of those master readers. And every morning, they prove it. So when your alarm finally goes off, or when you naturally stir and stretch and open your eyes, look at your dog. Really look at them. See the tail already wagging, the eyes already bright, the body already positioned to greet you. Know that they've been waiting for this exact moment for the last 30 to 45 minutes, that their brain has been counting down, that their heart has been preparing. Because in their world, every morning is a small miracle. You are gone, somewhere beyond their reach, and now you're back. You left them in sleep, and you've returned in waking. And no matter how many mornings this happens, no matter how predictable the pattern becomes, the joy never diminishes. The reunion never gets old. To your dog, your sleep is the only time they truly lose you, and your waking is the only time they get you back. Every single day, you die a small death and are resurrected. And they're there for both. Watching over the death, celebrating the resurrection. Because that's what love looks like when you can't speak it in words. It looks like vigil. It looks like preparation. It looks like a tail wagging in the dark 30 minutes before you even know you're about to wake up. What does your dog do in those first moments when you open your eyes? Because now you know it's not just excitement. It's relief. It's completion. It's the end of their longest wait. And if this changed the way you see your morning routine, stay close. Because your dog's love is written in 1,000 tiny behaviors you've never noticed. And every one of them deserves to be understood. Because your dog waited all night for you to come back, the least we can do is notice.